Hello and welcome to The Way Back, a new series within the Awe and Wonder world of campus ministry. So excited to be here with you. My name is Cristian Murphy. This is another take on this journey of conversations that we've been having. We're entering into March, and we are over 2 years or 2 years into this pandemic experience, which is wild to think about. And throughout that entire journey, we've been doing these video podcast conversations all in an attempt to create opportunities to connect with people within our community. It's been really, really special. It's been something that I'm still surprised by how it's been successful and the things it's taught me and the things I've gotten to experience with all of you. We've gotten to have conversations with seniors who are graduating and what their life was like going from being on campus and then going and graduating in the midst of all of this. Talked to some of the Sisters of St. Joseph through that special 3-part series we did with the sisters, which was such an exciting experience. Some faculty and staff talking about things that they got going on. And so there's a lot of really exciting things that we've been able to do with this. And so we're now in the spring semester, and we've developed this idea of having the theme be for these conversations being the way back. We're starting to see little glimpses of hope and opportunity to see life again. We can kind of smell it here and there, and when up in the midst of still being really safe and being appropriate with everything, we can start to feel things building back. But I think it's important that we move forward, but we don't forget anything that's happened, and we don't forget where we've been and the experiences that we're still mourning. And so having a balance with that, I think, is really important. So this semester, we're going to do a couple of episodes of conversations here with 3 all-star students that I have gotten to know very closely, and I've had a wonderful experience working with, and have had really wonderful conversations with them about these types of topics. So we figured we'd jump on here and share some of them with you. So I'm going to bring in our panel, our guests here, Dominique, Noelle, and Emma. How you doing?
Good.
Welcome to the Way Back, All in Wonder season. I don't know what, technically like season 3 or 4. I still get so excited. We got a podcast. Pretty cool thing. Let's go around and introduce yourself. Dominique, go first.
Okay, so I'm Dominique, and I'm a senior biology major.
All right. Noelle.
I'm Noelle. I am a junior chemistry adolescent ed major.
Hi, I'm Emma. I am a sophomore in the nursing program.
All right. Cool. So the 3 of you have been heavily involved in so many different things across the campus, within campus ministry, but then in all other areas of campus life. And so it's exciting to be able to sit down here with you to just sort of develop a somewhat candid conversation about how we find hope in the midst of everything that's going on. I'm really interested to hear about how you guys are doing this semester. So I guess we'll start with how's this semester going for you? Is there anything, any highlights, anything that's on your mind that is of interest?
I'm really excited that things are getting opened up on campus. We're now allowed to have in-person events, which is bringing back the sense of community in St. Joe's, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, we're excited too. It's we're entering into Lent too, and so there's a lot of opportunities to gather and start to see a new page turn. Yeah.
I would say the same. Like, I'm excited that we're able to do in-person events now, because I'm a part of CAB. So we had like one of our first in-person / virtual events last night, which was a lot of fun. And as far as how the semester is going for me, I just switched to the nursing program, so I'm still learning how it all works academically. It is a little hard, but I'm adjusting to it, which is, the norm of switching a major. But other than that, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like with holding in my future. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Emma, and we're going to revisit that throughout this journey because I think it's a really interesting perspective of the students that are feeling a call to change their major and go. And we talk about vocation all the time, and where are you discerning and what are you feeling called to? And you're a perfect example of that, and it's scary and exciting at the same time, I'm sure. You know? So,
Yeah, definitely.
and Dominique, how are you doing?
I'm good. So since I'm a senior,
You're graduating.
I'm graduating. So
Holy
it's
cow.
it's exciting, but it's also like really nerve wracking, just like thinking about what I'm doing next and just like life after this. Cause I'm like, I don't know if I've really been like adulting properly. So like when I like leave this setting, I'm like, how's it gonna be? So a lot of people, I talk to them, I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready. And they're like, you're not ready. Like, I'm so ready to get out of here. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if other people feel like me, but I'm like, you know, you got kind of like used to this a little bit, and then you're gonna move on to like the next stage. So I definitely have nerves, but I am excited to move on and get on to my next chapter.
We should rename this adulting. It's like, what does that even mean? And
I don't know.
that's a good question also, Noelle. Do you guys feel that pressure to like adult?
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what does that look like? I mean, what is
It looks scary. Don't you?
yeah, that's good. That's yeah. I mean, it's real.
I've definitely realized it this semester how adulting is definitely coming my way.
I feel like it
now
already
I'm
has
writing
come your
a
way.
thesis.
But yeah, Noelle.
Like now I'm writing a thesis. That means I'm towards the end, and similar to Dominique said, now I have to start picking a career, and it's definitely overwhelming. Like I've been looking at grad schools, and I have no idea what the next year or two is going to bring. And that's kind of the process of adulting that I'm dealing with.
Yeah. I think I look at my parents a lot and I'm like, okay, like they're adults, so I need to adult like them. But they're way advanced. So obviously like they're much older than me. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I need to like do that, what they're doing. Like when they were my age, like they already had a house and they were like married.
Yeah.
So in my head, like looking at like the older generation, it's hard because my parents didn't go to college. They got a job like right away. And so
Yeah.
for me, it's like, oh, I need to do that. But really, like people say, like in all reality, you don't have to. Like your life is different. You could take it like different steps. It doesn't have to like look like other people's. Like you could live your life your way and it still could be good. So I think for me, it just looks like other people's, but I think I need just to find it myself. Cause to me, I'm like, I need to adult the right way. But like, is there a right way to adult? Like, I think we just discover it as we just get older. We go through these experiences, which makes us become like adults. So I think, yeah.
That's interesting. It sounds like imposter syndrome.
Oh, yes.
I feel like I hear you all say that all the time.
Oh, all the time. It's like my biggest phrase.
All right, define it here for those that I don't know how you don't know what this is, right? But like, what is imposter syndrome?
Try to explain it. So like you're in a group of people and you feel like you're not a part of the group, and it's giving you a sense of imposter as if you're a fake. And I feel like I can experience this literally in any aspect of my life. It could be at work, or I just started a new job or I'm kind of relating to the group, but I'm kind of not because I'm still new at it. You do a new major, you just got there. Everyone else seems like, oh yeah, if they have to know what they're doing, they might not think I know what I'm doing. It really could be anywhere. And I think it's a really bad attitude to have, and I'm fully open that it's bad to have it.
Well, that's a great thing to talk about here. I don't think it's bad on any of us to have it. I think it's honest. It's a real thing that we all could feel. I feel it all the time. We have to be honest about it. It's what we do with it. You know, if it leads us to personal hatred towards ourselves, or then putting ourselves down, that's when it gets bad. But it kind of comes from I don't know, would you say maybe it comes from a good place? Like, I don't know, deep down.
Yeah, because you want to be a part. Like, it's not coming from hatred. It's not coming from that. It's just coming like, oh, I wish. But with determination, I think that imposter syndrome goes away. Then you kind of start feeling yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe it comes from like people wanted like unity. So like you might think like, oh, to be united with these other people, I need to be more like them. So like I need to have like similar like mindsets, or like be at a similar like academic status with them. Like, so like just be like near other people so that we could be one. But then we might take it too far. But I don't think anyone's coming from it in a bad place. It's like a good place because we want to keep the peace and be one with others.
Yeah, it goes back to community again.
Yep.
It's remarkable how so many things come back to that need to be in community, which we have lacked because of what we've gone through these past 2 years. Is the absence of community. How are you guys feeling? Because I can have my own feelings about this, but I'm in a different place in my life, but I can start to look and say, wow, I think that, we talk to people here at the college, and I talk to my colleagues and say, we think that the students are being affected this way, or we think this and we think that. But I'll just be completely honest. What are you guys thinking? Like, how do you feel these past 2 years have impacted our students in good and bad?
I feel like, at least for me, I can speak for myself, I've become too complacent. Like, I'm very into talking to other people, going out, socializing, but now I'm starting to like my bed more and just staying in, which you really can't do. So all classes were on Zoom. You kind of just stay in your own bubble, right? And you don't really expose yourself to other situations, social interactions, academic settings. And now all of a sudden you're kind of just thrown back and you're assumed like, okay, now I have been 2 years, haven't been doing much. I have to adapt to this new setting. And like, that's where I'm at, trying to adjust to this, what was normal life when all of this has happened.
Yeah.
Kind of scary for me.
Thank you for your honesty. No, it's scary is a good word.
Yeah, coming back definitely is hard because like we've been like doing school this way like all our life, but for some reason like these like 2 years or however long people were out for, just like coming back, I just feel like I don't know how to do things, and I'm like I was able to take tests like perfectly fine all my life, and now I come back and take a test and I just have like these like, extreme nerves, and I'm like I've been doing this, but like taking a test in person again, like this is like different for me, and like even just like the way like when I was at home, it's like maybe like my study habits or whatever, like procrastination. And there's like so much more on my plate now, I guess maybe too, being back in person. Like now like I'm back at like working and then doing different things and then school. So then it's like, oh my gosh, like we kind of like stepped out of like life almost for a second and then we get like thrown back into it. And it's just like full force thrown back in. So it's like almost like overwhelming. And it's like I've been back on campus for like a year, but I still feel sometimes like overwhelmed with like being thrown back in.
Yeah, I would say this about the same thing for me. Like when I was, well, we're all virtual. Like I always had the study habits of having my tests online and then using my notes. But now being back in person, of course, all the tests are in person and you can't use it, so to get back to my old study habits, which is another thing I've been a little bit struggling with getting back into used to doing. And then also not also, so I'm sure all of us had the fear of like, okay, like, do we have to quarantine? Do we not quarantine? Coming back. That's like one things I do have fear of, and then going back to work. But, having the advantage of being able to get vaccinated, still, you don't, it's always that fear that you have, or even for your loved ones. So like, you don't want to bring that home to them, especially with me because I have a big family. So like, and a younger sibling. So definitely there's a lot of things I've learned when we were in that quarantine period 2 years ago. But now I have a better idea. Okay, this is what is expected now in person, and what I should do for myself to help me to feel more that I'm going back into that social life. So yeah.
And it's funny, all three of you were just talking about like academics and stuff, and like once again, I forgot about, and there's also the fear of getting sick.
Yeah.
You see, we all like we adapt to the point where we're like, I got to figure out how to take a test again. But then like we're also forgetting the fact that there's a lot of stress here of like, oh wait, we still can get sick. Like there's still this other looming. And I say all this again, not to be depressing anyway, but I think it's important for you as students and for me and for anyone listening here to remember what our young people are going through. We get so used to the way it is, and then we start to create new guidelines and this and that of how you guys all need to step up, and then you have to remember the pressure and it's unprecedented. We never, I mean, you guys are resilient as all heck. It's pretty impressive. As I found actually, I personally think you guys are more resilient than me and others because of that hunger that you have to be part of things again. What are you thinking? What are some of the things that seeing about yourself that you've learned about yourself that you're kind of excited about. You're like, oh, if I tap into that now, I can grow in this way. For me, I'll go first because I know it's a big question. I'll say I've been thinking a lot about time and the fact that time seems to be an illusion to me, and I always think I understand what my relationship with time and say, oh, this is next week or that's a month away or this or that, but I never seem to really understand how time works. So I feel I've been trying to slow down way more, and like I deleted a bunch of apps off my phone that I'm starting to lock my phone up more when I can, and like put it in a dresser drawer, and be more present. So that's something that for me I've been way more conscious about recently.
I feel like I was able to like delve deeper into my faith because I always feel like I always had my faith with me because like my mom, like I grew up this way, but like when like COVID hit and then like we had to go home and I was like home all the time. The only place like we were able to go was church. Like, so my church was still open. So like we would just go there. So I was able just to like grow in my faith and just like learn more about like Jesus, like the Catholic faith, and it's like myself through my relationship with Christ. Like I just learned like just more about myself, like in general, and just like things that I want to do. So like I'm gonna be a missionary next year, and it's like I wonder if would I have ever like noticed? Like I remember very like very well. It was like sometime in March. I was talking to one of my friends about this, and I didn't really want to think about it because I was like, this is kind of scary. I don't know if it's something like I should be doing. But then like I just had like a lot of time. So I had like time to pray and I had time just to like think about like myself and like who I am and like my abilities. And then like through there, like I ended up making the decision to do it. So I learned about myself a lot in that way. Like, I didn't even realize until like right now that I learned that about myself.
Awesome. Yeah, congrats. And congrats on that big decision.
Thank you.
Mine's similar to Dominique. I grew up in a moderately religious home, but then during the pandemic, I kind of just, I want to say, I was pretty much losing hope, and I was looking for something positive. And that is when I kind of rebuilt my religious faith. It's a positive outlook for me during this really difficult situation. Instead of just sitting home like wallowing, I really can look to God and say, okay, look for advice, motivation. Through that, I also started meditating a lot. When at time of really, like I'm an anxious person, I'm fully open with that. When I'm really stressed out, I just take a moment to myself. And especially going back on campus, I take, even if it's 5 minutes, I'll go to a classroom by myself, just kind of reflect on the day. And I've noticed that similar to Cristian, my time is more valuable than I thought. And even just a moment, just even could be praying or just a moment on reflecting on my day is so important. And yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks again for your honesty there.
Yeah, for me, I grew up in a moderate Christian family as well. We would go to church every Sunday. I would go with my aunt. But when COVID hit, of course, we had to die down a lot. So for me personally, I feel like I personally have gotten more connected with Jesus, especially being a part of campus ministry, going to the masses. And also having a little sister who's going to religion classes right now, and so having that opportunity to go to church and see her achieve so many things, becoming Christian. So yeah, for me personally as well, I've definitely took some time for myself to either meditate, like I like listening to calm music, or just spending time with family, and which is one thing I've learned from being in quarantine this past year or so. I think interacting with family is very important for me, and I'm sure for everybody else it is the same. So yeah.
Yeah, those family nights are wonderful opportunities. Family movie nights.
Oh yeah.
Family game night, yeah.
I was at my parents visiting the other day, and I was going through some old stuff, and I found we used to go to Blockbuster and do rent a movie. And now it's all streaming, which is just kind of crazy, right? How different. I remember that being such an experience, and I guess I borrowed it and never gave it back, but I had a Blockbuster VHS.
Can't return it.
I rewound it it was rewind. I did that part. I just forgot to bring it back. But it just brought back that idea too of like, oh, the value of the family night and what that does, and just so. This is really exciting. I think this is such a great way to start this conversation. I appreciate the three of you being here. I also want to say a disclaimer. None of this was prepared overtly. In the sense that
On the dot.
And saying, make sure you talk about, I think that's a testament to the fact that the three of you are maturity-wise is really special and unique to each of you, and it's cool to share this. So I think to end it here, great opportunity to kind of plug. This is where we're filming this here now, the end of February, and this will be out soon before our March 2nd Ash Wednesday, which is March 2nd, Ash Wednesday. And then that evening, we're going to do a campus ministry encounter hour for people to gather and have more conversations like this. So we hope that people can make it and that people can tune into whatever's going on and jump on campus here and join us in some conversation for a moment. So I thank the three of you for being here.
No problem.
We'll be back, part 2,
Yes.
soon to a computer near you. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.